What is mentoring? I think it's a relationship that helps people find their highest and best use. I think it is of different durations, and there's an old saying that someone is in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so I think that we need to broaden what we think about mentoring, and it could be a moment, it could be a few months, or it could be a lifetime. And I think one of the key things about mentoring is leadership. So why would you invest in other people instead of, taking care of your own stuff? Well, I think if you work at a company or organization or a school, you realize that people are your most important assets. You spend a lot of money on recruiting and retention and training, and we did a survey at my law firm to determine what would make someone successful. At a law firm, success is defined as becoming partner. And so we looked at where did you go to school? What kind of grades did you get? Did you pass the bar the first time? Second time? And it turned out the most important factor was having a mentor. What's kind of funny is we had some people who were like, I bootstrap myself. I'm a self-made person. In my day, we didn't even have day. We just had night. You know that type. But when we broke down the data, we figured out he had night and a mentor. So mentoring, my firm, we talk about, drafting behind someone if you're cycling. I'm not a cyclist, so this may not be the appropriate cycling thing to do. And you can also think about reverse mentoring. So we are also encouraging our younger attorneys and younger people in our lives to help us. I call this the phone call to my nephew, which is whatever it is, it doesn't work. And the other day, one of them said, before you get a smartphone, you might want to master the dumb phone, Auntie Karen. One of my dad's favorite philosophers is Bob Dylan. I grew up listening to Dylan, and he said, the highest purpose of art is to inspire. What else can you do? What else can you do for anyone but to inspire them? So inspiration might be another reason why you want to mentor. For me, I've been told I'm bossy, so I like to think of it as having a point of view. But if you have a point of view about ideas that you want to share, I think you can become a mentor. I'm also here because my mentor suggested me for this. And we have a more of a traditional one-on-one mentoring. He's a senior attorney at my firm. He's taken an interest in my career, so I draft behind him. I also brought my peer mentor, my lovely sister-in-law, Sarah, who is a homeless advocate. And I think of this as kind of a yin-yang mentoring, that we are peers, but we have different skill sets. And so our mentoring is much more in the car, having conversations, or when we go to dinner with our family, sneaking off and talking about sort of best practices and things that excite us. And one of them has been dieting, so it's all good. I buried the lead a little bit, and my main mentoring inspiration is my father, Bill Russell, NBA legend, and last February, President Obama gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian honor, and it was incredible. We got to meet him, go to the White House, and meet all these incredible people, and I realized all of these remarkable people were there because of a mentor, like my dad. Some describe my dad as America's ultimate winner. He won 2 high school titles, 2 NCAA titles, a gold medal, 11 world championships as captain of the Boston Celtics, 2 as coach, 8 in a row, and he was the first black coach in professional sports. To put that into context, Michael Jordan has won 6 NBA titles. Michael Jordan and LeBron James have won 6 NBA titles. This isn't being taped, right? Bill Russell had something else in common with Michael Jordan. Both of them were cut from their basketball team. My dad was cut from his junior varsity team, but a mentor appeared, his varsity coach, and his varsity coach actually paid for him to go to the Boys and Girls Club, and the rest, they say, is history. Talk a bit about barriers to mentoring, why people don't want to mentor. It's awkward. What if I get that kid, the lemon. And that happens. And in that instance, you might be more suited to having group mentoring, which is another thing that we do. So you grab a group of people and you grab a group of kids or a group of coworkers, and that way you don't get to sit near the stinky kid. The other challenge is disappointment. And sometimes it is disappointing that things don't work out the way they do, or they don't appreciate what you have to offer. You know, there's that old joke, you know, Karen, I saw Fred last week, and he said the nicest things about you. I can't imagine why. I never did anything for Fred. So, seriously, it's hard to watch people make challenging choices, and so you may get your heart broken on the road to mentoring. I want to tell you a story about my dad and I. I went to Georgetown, and he loves to drive, and so we drove across country, but we drove across Canada, and it was amazing. We got to see the Aurora Borealis, and I was thinking, gosh, I'm such a lucky person that I get to go to Georgetown University. And I said, you know, I thank you for that. And he said, well, just do one thing for me. Mentor 3 people. And I said, you know, in your life. And I said, well, why 3? He said, you know, 2 might not work out. So, you know, put your money on one, which I was able to do. The second objection is mentoring is a major time suck. But it doesn't have to be. You can be like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. You can find that one that is just right. You can mentor for a minute. I was at a conference, and everyone I know loves free stuff, right? I even loved the badge that we got today, you know, and so I was setting up my table. We were recruiting and putting out the tchotchkes, and these 2 young ladies came in, and it was just me in this room with these 2 young ladies, and they proceeded to go to every table and start to clear off stuff. And they didn't know who I was, and I was sort of on the phone and looking at them out of the corner of my eye. And as they were getting ready to leave, I was like, stop. And you could see the look on their face. I said, look, I don't know you. I'm not going to rat you out, but these business card holders and thumb drives are not worth ruining your reputation. It's not worth it. And so they went to put them back. I'm like, you know, ship has sailed. Keep it. But just bear in mind that, you know, especially now with cameras, this is before cameras, you know, so I took a moment to bossily mentor these kids. And that was actually very rewarding. Looking at my time, I did want to talk a minute about Maya Angelou, who I met at the Medal of Freedom. She's an old family friend. And the story about her was she was molested at 8 and lost her voice and didn't speak for 5 years. And the story is that they found the person who did it, and he ended up dying. And she felt that if she spoke, that she would have the power to kill somebody else. So a wonderful woman, a neighbor of hers, Bertha Flowers, like an old school name, took her to the library and introduced her to Shakespeare and to Poe and to black writers and black women writers. And now we have this amazing voice, but it was one person who intervened and helped Maya find her voice. And I found out a couple of years ago that she actually wrote a poem about me when I was a child. So that is super cool. So finally, this is group mentoring. We're mentoring each other. I always get the thank you when I force people, basically at gunpoint, to go mentor through our programs. They come back rejuvenated, happy. It validates your life choice when you share what it is, what you do. So I encourage you to be selfish and go out and mentor. Thank you.